Very good evening. You're watching India Today Go live on social media. I'm Nabila Jamal, as always, bringing you the roundup of the day's news. I'm going to start with all that news that's rocking the Maharashtra government as of now. The allegations against Sachin Vaze, the former cop within the Mumbai Police Department, it's so incriminating. It's pointing all fingers at him for accusing him for the murder of the Scorpio car that was found outside Ambani's residence, Hiren Mansukh's death. In fact, we're looking at Sachin Vaze also turning out to be the key conspirator. Again, there's no declaration as yet because investigation is still underway, but as per the evidence that they've gathered, indicating very clearly that Sachin Vaze was the man behind the Ambani bomb scare. He was the man who planted that car with explosives right outside Ambani's house and was the man who murdered Hiren Mansukh, the former owner of that Scorpio car. So this is indeed shocking, and India Today itself has accessed some evidence through CCTV footage. I'm going to take you through those details. In fact, CCTV footage, visuals that was found on the 17th of Feb and the 26th of Feb. Quite incriminating. In the latest visuals here, which was accessed on the 17th of Feb. In fact, one can see a white color cab stopping at a CST station, and Mansukh Hiren comes out of that cab. In the same footage here, it shows a blue color. In fact, that's the first footage of a white color car stopping at a CST station. Another footage on the same day shows a Audi car, a blue color Audi car, stopping at, near that station there. And even though the signal light goes green, the blue Audi car remains still, even though the other traffic vehicles moving in front. But that Audi car stops right in the middle of that traffic junction and waits for this man to enter the car. Now, the man who entered the car was Hiren Mansukh, and the man who was driving that blue Audi was Sachin Vaze. This itself shows very clearly that Sachin Vaze's statement that he never knew who Hiren Mansukh was is an absolute lie, because it clearly shows that Sachin Vaze and Hiren Mansukh were friends. They met even before the Ambani bomb scare case, and they met again on the day of the Scorpio car being found. So what prima facie it appears here is that Sachin Vaze and Hiren Mansukh both conspired to carry out this bomb threat to the Ambanis. It was Hiren Mansukh's car and Sachin Vaze's plan, it appears. Now, what was the real motive behind this entire case is still yet to be established. But what top sources tell us, as per the department, of course, from whatever that they can make sense of and how they are able to comprehend this entire case, is that they say that sources from the department there says that it possibly looks like that Sachin Vaze wanted to crack a high profile case, because there's really absolutely no reason to why this crime will be carried out, why Sachin Vaze would carry out a threat, a bomb threat to the Ambanis, who's one of the world's richest men. He has the kind of power and security, but yet he wants to, he tried to threaten the Ambanis and also thought he would get away with it. That apart, he even killed Hiren Mansukh, wanting to make it look like Hiren Mansukh was the man behind this entire case, and because the cops were after this case and wanted to try and decode it, that's when it appears that he pushed Hiren Mansukh to death. He murdered him himself with, of course, some of the accomplices, some people there who were also within the police department and were suspended earlier on. So the only reason that the sources tell us is that Sachin Vaze wanted to crack a high profile case, and he wanted to be known for it. He wanted to be recognized for it. He wanted to be the hero by unfolding this massive case, a bomb threat to the Ambanis and whatnot. But what he didn't realize is that what the plan that he laid out was absolutely ridden with loopholes, with a lot of loose threads hanging. He thought the case will remain with him and he will be able to investigate it, because what's very surprising is the moment a call came to the police station on number 100, Sachin Vaze was the one who jumped into investigating this case and was the first one who landed up right outside the residence of Ambani's and got hold of that car and the letter and whatnot. So he was the first man to actually start investigation into this case, and a man who's so entrenched within the police department in Mumbai. It's absolutely shocking that he turned out to be the key conspirator of it all. Now, what we can't help but imagine is the kind of connections that Sachin Vaze has had. or had. In fact, now he's in custody. He's in NIA custody. The custody ended today. The NIA is seeking for the extension of the custody, clearly based on all this evidence that they've got. Very incriminating evidence that shows Sachin Vaze itself to be the man behind this mastermind, behind this entire murder of Hiren Mansukh and the bomb scare outside Ambani's house. Now, we're looking at many questions being raised about Sachin Vaze's connections with the Maharashtra government, because this man was earlier on suspended from the police department at one round. He was back into the police department. Who and how did he come back into the police department? Was it without the nod of the NCP, Shiv Sena and the Congress? Didn't any of the three parties, alliance partners, know that this man has questionable history and they brought him back into the police department? In fact, the Maha Aghadi government now is pinning the blame entirely on Parambir Singh, accusing Parambir Singh of bringing Sachin Vaze back into the police department. Now, whether this is true or not, yet to be established, but here is the Maha Aghadi government's defense that Parambir Singh, the former police commissioner of Mumbai, has been making allegations against the Home Minister Anil Deshmukh only because he fears that he will be implicated in this case. They say, in fact, NCP leaders, I spoke to Majid Memon right a little earlier today. He himself said that Parambir Singh was scared that he will be implicated in this case because he was the one who brought Sachin Vaze into his fold back into the police department, and because his name will come up, that's why he has made such allegations against the Home Minister. Now again, like I said, it has to be established, but many questions being raised as to, even if Parambir Singh wanted to do it, it's impossible that the government is not in the know of it. It's impossible the Home Minister, Anil Deshmukh, wasn't in the know of it, because they're very keenly observing the developments within the police department. It's not a completely independent body. They both work in cooperation, the politicians as well as the police department, to run a successful government. So how is it even possible that the government says that they had no idea of Sachin Vaze's entry back again? In fact, several allegations also made by Parambir Singh was that Sachin Vaze was directly in connection with Anil Deshmukh, the Home Minister. He was superseding, even though he was just an assistant police inspector, he would supersede the police commissioner Parambir Singh itself and meet with Anil Deshmukh, the Home Minister, and they were absolutely in conversation. And also allegations which I'm sure all of you know, that Anil Deshmukh, Home Minister, used Sachin Vaze to extort money to the tune of 100 crore rupees every month. He was an extortionist. In fact, he's also an encounter specialist, which you know. Sachin Vaze has a history. He's killed almost 60 people in the past. He is an encounter specialist, worked extensively within governments, and now it turns out to be the man himself has turned out to be a murderer. And this has to be established now in a charge sheet, but almost it appears all indications show that Sachin Vaze itself is a man behind this case. Now, many other details that they have found while through the investigation here. In fact, one should know that NIA has now taken into this investigation. The anti-terror squad has already come up with their conclusions. The NIA has also now stepped in. The central agency is going to be investigating this case, while the NIA says they will also be probing this case simultaneously. Now, another footage that shows a white color Innova car, an SUV, which was right outside Antillia, which moved outside Antillia. Now, this is also very shocking. This white Innova car, remember there was a Scorpio car that was outside Ambani's house. The person who was in the Scorpio car, it was said that that person got into a white Innova car and went away. So they were trying to find out who this person was in the white Innova car. It turned out to be Sachin Vaze himself, who was driving that white Innova car. Now that white Innova car, the car passed Mulund toll post at 3:27 a.m. on the 25th of February when this incident happened. In fact, bomb scare happened on the 26th. On the 25th, this car has passed at 3:27 a.m. near Mulund toll post. It comes back to Mumbai at 4:03 a.m. after changing number plate. So this car, white Innova car, which allegedly was used by Sachin Vaze extensively for his personal use and professional use, and was inside the police commissioner's office also standing many times. The same car, he took it out of Mumbai, changed the number plates, brought it back inside Mumbai, and the vehicle then reaches Antillia, Ambani's house, at 4:35 a.m. And that's where Vaze got off that vehicle wearing a long white kurta and a hoodie cap, and he kept the letter inside the Scorpio SUV, came back into this Innova car and drives away. Now, one can't imagine the kind of unabashedness or fearlessness with which this man has carried out this crime, hoping that he will never get caught, because he himself will ideally be the investigating officer. So who's to catch him? Clearly the law has worked faster and it's caught up with him. Now, while NIA is now seeking for an extension of Vaze's custody here, the probe agency has also invoked provisions of Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, very serious UAPA act against him. In fact, Vaze is now being quizzed extensively for his role in planting the explosives in the car outside Mukesh Ambani's residence. The agency has also detained Vaze now and wants to extend it further. Now we're looking at a complaint has been filed by a South Mumbai builder naming Sachin Vaze here. While this investigation is currently underway, a builder from South Mumbai is also filed a complaint against Sachin Vaze, accusing him and his associates of threatening him in a property related matter. So a little more dirt coming out on Sachin Vaze. Again, like I said time and again, very shocking to even imagine that Sachin Vaze was not inducted in the know of politicians who are currently running the Mahagadi government in Maharashtra. How is it possible that they do not know of Sachin's re-entry? Now, Police Commissioner Parambir Singh, in the meanwhile, has filed his petition in the Bombay High Court. Remember, the Supreme Court said that they will not hear it unless it goes to the High Court, and then we'll see after. High Court, Parambir Singh has now just filed his petition in the High Court. He's challenged his transfer as the Police Commissioner. He's also seeking for a CBI probe into the allegations he's made against Anil Deshmukh. Let me cut across to the poll-bound states quickly. Just 2 more days for West Bengal to go into the first phase of polling in the state. BJP's all-star campaigners pressed into action, starting from Mithun Chakravarti, the new entry into the BJP. He's campaigning extensively. He's not contesting elections, but he's campaigning for other candidates of the BJP. You have Rajnath Singh, the Defence Minister, of course, Home Minister Amit Shah, Prime Minister Modi as well was campaigning extensively. Yogi Adityanath has been campaigning in West Bengal. So it's like a star-studded affair. All the star campaigners for the BJP now on ground, and it appears it's BJP versus Mamta. Mamta Banerjee also has been extensively campaigning on a wheelchair. So as the campaign trail thickens, the allegations on both ends also intensifies. Today we saw Mamta Banerjee and Dilip Ghosh, in fact just yesterday Dilip Ghosh said on a stage that Mamta Banerjee is indicating that she is faking her injury, leg injury, and saying that if she really wants to show it off, then why is she wearing a sari? She might as well wear a Bermuda shorts. So this is of course not gone down well with Mamta Banerjee. She's hit out saying what one wears and what personal choice is left to a person. It's not for anyone to dictate. Apart from that, we also have Mahua Moitra, who says from the TMC that Dilip Ghosh is an absolute pervert. Several other leaders condemning this comment that Dilip Ghosh has made. We do know that Mamta Banerjee has received a lot of flack. She's accused the BJP of conspiring to make her crippled. Actually, she accuses that the BJP has, played a conspiracy and got her injured so that she cannot campaign the length and breadth of West Bengal, because she intimidates them, and therefore they did this so that she cannot campaign. BJP of course mocking at her, saying that all that she has is now she wants to take sympathy out of this injury, which is false. Amit Shah has asked her to make her public, the medical reports public with immediate effect if she really is honest about her injury. So those allegations are flying thick and fast. Let me go over to sexist remarks. Speaking of sexist remarks, Tamil Nadu, you have a DMK candidate, a DMK leader who was campaigning today, Dilingul Leone. While he was campaigning, he speaks about how women around in India have become so fat like barrels. Such a shameful remark, and he says it so mockingly and so unabashedly, not really fearing, thinking that he's probably cracking a joke. Don't know what he really was thinking, but he has come across as an absolute misogynist and a sexist remark that's not gone down well with too many. He has been pulled up for it as well. Here is Mr. Leone, Dindigul Leone, DMK candidate, who says that women are drinking foreign milk. Women in India are drinking foreign milk, and they are no more size 8. They are now looking like barrels. They have become so fat. And the body language, the gesture with which he said, sounded so insulting and absolutely derogatory. Of course, now many social activists there demanding for his apology. This hasn't gone down too well. While that on one hand, we're looking at Tamil Nadu now extensively campaigning, with Kamal Haasan now stepping up his attack against the centre. Kamal Haasan now has in fact condemned the centre. He slammed India's decision to abstain from voting in UN against Sri Lanka on the war crimes against Tamils. In fact, this was a tweet that Kamal Haasan has put out, which has now been echoed by several other leaders from the Congress party like Chidambaram, saying that they're very sad and disappointed, and this is shameful that India did not stand up for its Tamils. In fact, DMK chief, beg your pardon, MDMK chief Vaiko has also condemned the centre's move, saying what happened in Lanka was not just civil war but a genocide, and Tamils in Sri Lanka must be supported, and India should have taken a strong stance. Chidambaram there training his guns, saying people of Tamil Nadu will punish AIADMK and the BJP alliance for this grievous blow of interest to the interests of Tamils. Even for that matter, Bangladesh, Pakistan have all come in favor. China, Russia, Pakistan and Bangladesh have voted in favor of Colombo. India has abstained in voting against Sri Lanka over this atrocities on Tamil. So this has really upset a lot of the Tamilians. In fact, remember, Tamilians have really faced a lot of atrocities at the hands of Sri Lankans, and so far they're waiting for justice. Many of them wanted to come back to India, to Tamil Nadu, but a lot of the process was also difficult. It appears now that they're very disappointed that India has apparently, according to the claims, not stood up for their rights. Now that's that for now. On a final note, I'm going to take you through quickly. Modi is on a 2-day visit to Bangladesh. He will reach Dhaka tomorrow. He will be, in fact, the chief guest at Bangladesh's 50th Liberation Day celebrations, and Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, she will be receiving Prime Minister Modi herself, and in fact the two sides will also be assigning a range of pacts for bolstering ties and cooperation between the two countries. On March 26, Prime Minister Modi will be visiting the National Martyrs Memorial in Sawar to pay homage to those who laid their lives for the liberation of Bangladesh about 50 years ago. This is a 2-day visit, and it will also have a political overture here. In fact, Prime Minister Modi will be visiting the Jashoreshwari Kali temple, which is venerated by the influential Mathua community in Bengal. The BJP, of course, now we know, is trying to actively woo the Mathua community in Bengal. Now, as I wrap here, we're looking at COVID crisis surging. In fact, the numbers surging in Maharashtra and Delhi. Across India is the same situation. Poll-bound states across West Bengal, we're seeing people without masks campaigning, BJP leaders, TMC leaders, any other party, even Tamil Nadu, even Kerala. It's just really so sad to see that when the cases are going up, doesn't seem like any of them, the netas or the voters, have any caution that they're taking. They're all throwing caution to the wind. This is a warning that experts have given out that India is probably going through a second wave. In fact, it's so serious that India has now stopped the exports of AstraZeneca Covishield vaccine to other countries because they want to cater to the demand within the country first. You do know now that you no more need to have anybody above the age of 45 can go get vaccinated. You don't need to have your comorbidity certificate. So while the vaccination drive is underway, yet we're looking at numbers increasing at a real fast pace. In just last 1 week, 1 lakh odd numbers added to the list. In fact, this is quite shocking. While this happens, AstraZeneca, on the other hand, claims that Covishield vaccine has 100% efficacy against severe or critical COVID and hospitalization. They say that there's 100% guarantee that you will not be critical after taking this vaccine. That's what the AstraZeneca Covishield manufacturers have said. But whatever it is, no matter how much assurance that any pharma company gives about their vaccine, one should know that it is not 100% safe. The only thing that will keep you safe is social distancing, wearing your mask, ensure hand sanitization, and just basic COVID protocols which we have been harping on for the last 1 year and much longer. So do not take your chance, because you may be asymptomatic and safe, but your loved ones might not. So it works differently on different bodies. So stay safe and take care. Thank you very much for watching.